is Colin Dijs, and in this video you'll see a replay of a live masterclass with a couple dozens of students where we go back and forth on the ultimate testing phase, more specifically focused on native ads. I will ask questions, I'll present a lot of golden nuggets in this video, so make sure to watch it till the end. And if you want to know how you can join these masterclasses, check the link in the description below. Tons of value here, make some notes because this is high value masterclass content. Have fun, and if you have any questions, ask them down in the comments below.
This is Colin Dijs. We're going to talk on this masterclass about the testing phase. This is the 29th of June 2001. And what we'll be looking at today is this amazing sketchpad, the map, and the document. So I'll just write down here the testing phase. Testing phase for each of the traffic sources. While we have the primary group here being focused on native ads, I'll pick that as an example. If you guys want to see some push later, we can include that as well, although the steps are not that different, right? Anybody who's not doing native ads, some hands please. Michael, oh damn, that's a lot, okay. Anybody who is doing push? Okay, and anybody who's doing not push and not native? 1, 2, 3, all right, 4. All right, that's interesting. Well, let's do native. We'll split it up then. In that case, push, and then anything else, right? Depending on what you guys run. Maurizio, what do you run? You gotta hit the unmute first.
I run PPC, but in specialized networks, not the mainstream, but job seekers, PPC networks.
So like vacancy, like Indeed, that kind of stuff?
Exactly, but rules are changing. My revenue is dropping, so I need a new traffic source and new methods. That's
so
what
you would like to be here, I assume?
I love it.
Okay, perfect. I will write you down for the native game in that scenario. I don't see the names, that unfortunate, but I don't know if you guys are grouped the same. Mr. with the goatee, with the bright light in the kitchen. Yeah, it's you. Yeah, he's like, is it me? Yeah, it's you, with a little goatee.
Pablo.
Pablo? I'll just shout some names.
Yes.
Yeah. If you can unmute yourself, I'll just ask you to unmute. Maybe that's easier.
Yeah.
No, one atop you, Pablo Torres, not you.
Okay.
It's the person trying to shut down the camera, turn it back on. Sorry, guys, it's a little inconvenient at the start. So many new people. I just have to get used to the names first. Well, I don't think he can hear me properly. Let's move on in that case. All right, let's build out these phases, yes? In the scenario where we would actually have the 3 different testing phases, I'll take native as the primary example because most of you are focused on that. Then we'll go to push, right? Who can give me some ideas on what to do with native if we have some smart people here today? I would assume most of you guys here, especially the advanced guys, would know how to operate this. Yeah, it says 2 people in waiting room, but I cannot accept them. 1 second, guys. I don't want to keep our boys waiting. All right, so obviously it would start with the creatives, right? I know all of you guys are a little bit shy today, but we'll start with the creatives. Okay, who can tell me what we're going to do with the creatives?
Put as many images as possible.
Oh, no, yeah, okay, some rules, sorry. No speaking without raising hands. Yes, okay, but you can speak, let's go.
Yeah, first of all, test many images to see which one gets the best CTR.
Based on what? Do we just do something or do we use any specific rules here?
Well, we have to have certain
yeah, no, you can talk. While you're talking, you can keep on talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just getting used to the rules.
Yeah.
You have to have certain amount of impressions to be certain that you can shoot down that widget, let's say.
Okay, how many?
100.
100 impressions?
Mm,
The way I'm voicing it, you should know what to answer.
no, I'm not, I don't remember. I just
Okay, that's
started the
fine.
course 2 days ago.
Okay, well, at least you're very interactive. I appreciate that. This is what you said. It's somewhat in the ballpark, I would say, but it's not. I like to do things according to my theories because I made them, right? So let's hear from Mr. Torres.
Yeah, you have to choose a vertical first, right?
Okay, let's say we have done this and now we're at the
Yeah.
creatives. What would be the rules for testing the creatives?
CPA rule, which is
No,
no.
that
Okay.
would go on the placement level, so on the widgets specifically. Here,
Okay.
I'm more looking for, well, impressions, definitely, and how we would test many, many images. And that's what we will see through these calls a lot, which is great, is that most of you are quite descriptive, right, on how you would explain things instead of knowing the theory, right, by heart. But Kevin knows. So let's head over to Kevin.
Okay, so we would start off with one angle to kind of start off with the headlines. So from that one angle, we branch off to 3 sub angles, and then yeah, we would make like 10 headlines for each sub angle or more. More variables allow you to test. So of course it'd be good to have more.
Okay, so how many headlines would this give you?
This would be in total 30 headlines, 3 sub angles, 3 times 10.
Okay, perfect. How do you know this specifically, this approach? Because a lot of people don't know this, right?
This is Colin's very own trademark theory. So
this is what I've told you many times to do over the chat, right? A lot of people who have the chat coaching will realize that this is the structure that we mainly follow in the initial start. Okay, what about the images though? Kevin. Yeah, because you haven't gotten that far, so I'm curious
yeah,
what
I
you're
haven't
going to
gone
say.
that far. So I'm assuming for the images, it's maybe not as many images. But of course, the more you have, the better you can play around with the data.
Definitely. Okay, so let's move back to these headlines. Yes, on these 30 headlines, let's see some ads. Are we going to use more or less than 30? Let's say more than 30. Okay, so everybody would say less than 30. Yes, is that correct? Everybody's scared today. Nobody can show some hands. Hands for less than 30. Less than 30 headlines. Martin? Paxley? Okay, there we go. Some people are like, maybe I'll just join Colin. Yes, there will be less than 30 because let's say we would test 10 images, then we would already have 300 different ads, right? Which is unlikely for your initial test. So these 30 headlines, they would be for review purposes, right? Review them, see where you are strong and see where you're weak. Well, one thing I know for sure that Kevin is weak at is sticking to the character cap, right? You love going over the character cap. So one thing to take into consideration is the character cap. What does this mean, Martin?
Was it 25? It depends on the network, of course.
Perfect. But what does it mean?
That we only have a certain amount of characters we can use for a headline. And we have to put into consideration that we might change the language. So if we design those headlines in English and it gets translated into a different language, that might change it significantly as well.
Awesome. Perfect, Martin. Thanks. Do you want to add anything else? You're missing one variable that might be interesting here. One metric.
Language. The wildcards?
Sorry?
The wildcards, like city, or what are they called again?
Yeah. So the shortcode parameters.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. 100% correct. Who can explain me? Damien, my friend. Welcome. Could you please explain us how shortcodes work?
So the shortcut takes the lead or the visitor's IP address, and it works out his city or location or wherever it may be. So you'll, for instance, if you're targeting a weight loss product, you would put, you know, a fat person in state are now getting slim through this product. So they're using the IP address of the actual visitor. So it gives them more of a local feel. It gives them more credibility, more trust.
Awesome.
And
very powerful, of course.
Yeah.
Right? Something you don't see that often, because a lot of other traffic sources would say this is very intrusive to the privacy of the person, right? If you know what their city is or their location or whatever, but it's basic mobile connection, basic internet connection data that any advertiser can pull, right? So very useful. Thanks, Damien. Murat, you here? You're all the way in the back. Yeah, right? Yeah, okay, perfect. I have a question for you. What would happen if I go over the character cap by, let's say, I can use a city which might say PHO, P-H-O, right? 3 letters, and my character cap is 68. But now all of a sudden it's Louisiana, which means by 10 characters I go over the character cap. What happens?
Then you will lose the last piece of the sentence.
By how many characters?
The character count was 68.
Yeah, and we went 10 over, so 78.
78. Then you lose the last 10 characters. 13 on MGID.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So you would lose, in that scenario, you would lose the last 10, right? If you got 10 over, you would lose the last 10. Yes. So it will not remove the short code. Your ad will also not get disapproved. It will go through nonetheless. Maybe if the compliance person is nice and spots it, they will disapprove the ad and just write you a note. Watch out for the character cap. And it definitely depends on the placement, right? The character cap says 68 spacings. Some placements allow 80 characters, right? So it just fits. But obviously there are a lot of different website placements that your ad can show potentially, and therefore the character cap might vary. It will never be less than 68. That's why that's the threshold there. And you sometimes have a little bit of extension. It's shown larger, it's shown smaller, depending on the device as well. Okay, so this is all perfect. Everybody understands this or has questions about these basic elements so far? If you have questions, then do ask them. Yeah, Kevin.
So let's say you translate it to another language, and then it goes over because the language vocabulary is already like,
that's a good question.
It's
so
already different.
Let's say we would use a professional service, right, which we always recommend, like 1 hour translations, right? Inside 1 hour translations, there's a box. You can say use local slang, right, to make this sentence sound normal in your language. However, do keep in mind the character cap is 68 characters. So in that scenario, they will use different words, phrase it differently in order to stick with the character cap. So it will still give the same. What's interesting about language and culture, therefore, is that some sentences might sound completely strange. There's a Dutch saying where if somebody says, you know, you think I'm stupid, I'm not from yesterday, but it means I was not born yesterday. But if you would literally translate, I was not born yesterday, it sounds fucking stupid, right? So they remove 2 words where you would normally think that, oh, they're missing something because they stuck to the character cap, but that's not the case. It just, otherwise it doesn't make sense. And every language has this, right? And that's obviously very convenient, but you need to make that note or they'll go over. And then you have to put it, I've done it before because I've put it back in Google Translate to see which words I could cut, and it's a disaster. And I think 1 hour translations, they changed the brand. I got an email last week, I think, to something weird.
It's gone to Blend.
Yeah, by Blend right now. Oh, it's still 1 hour translations though, but I think it just got purchased. Blend. Thanks, Damien. Well, I like them. I've always used them. You know, there's Transy, there's other ones, but I feel like this is the one of the more expensive ones, but the quality is always good, you know, and that's very important. I don't want typos or anything like that in my professional copy. Any other questions, Kevin, on this? No? Anybody else? Oh, Damien, yeah, go ahead.
Just that one with 1 hour translation. The good thing that they do proofreading as well. So you can take the translation and you can pay a little bit extra. I can't remember what it is per character, but you can get it proofread by a second translator. And that normally, you normally get quite good text. And they're quite, the ones we've translated through them, I've never had a problem with a character. I've always had quite good interaction with them, and they've asked what I'm doing, what product maybe, and then sometimes you do get advice from them as well. So it is definitely worth paying that little bit extra for them.
Definitely. One of the things that I would say is important is the turnaround time. The more complex you make it, the longer it might take for them to actually do it. So for example, if you go from Swedish to South African, it will take a long time, right? But if you go from English to Spanish, it's done in 10 minutes, right? Somebody will pick it up, a professional translator, and it's quick. Just something to consider. But anyway, let's move on with this, because now I'm at images, right? And the images is usually one of the biggest hurdles. If you're not a great copywriter, you'll struggle with copy. That's just a fact. The only way you can better is write more copy, right? It's a dreadful answer nobody wants to hear, but at the end of the day, that is what it's all about. Write more copy consistently, and then have somebody like myself review it, who is somewhat of a professional copywriter, right? Then on the other hand, you have the images, where it's a lot more about not creative insight translating it to words, but creative insights translating it to visuals, right? The visuals have to speak for themselves, which is quite difficult. The image is the scroll stopper and the headline gets the click. Now, what are some rules? Because last time we did 5 rules to a good creative, but we could only get 4. And I had to cheat to get the 5th one. 4, 3, any of the rules to a good creative that you know? Anybody? I'll just pick why. You can say it because I know you got some good ones probably.
First, it has to be a good quality.
Okay.
It inspires curiosity.
Yes.
I think high contrast.
Yeah. Okay. Good, man.
Is relevance one of the 5?
I can put it here. It's not one of the 5, but I would say it's important to consider. You can just name a couple you feel are important here. Doesn't have to be the exact 5 that I usually write down.
Right. Yeah, that's all I can think of.
That's it? Okay. Yeah. Elena, thanks, Why.
You're welcome.
What do you have next for us? You can add anything to this list?
Hey, Colin, Wei got most of mine. That was. I would say like she said curiosity. I would say something strange. I would say also faces. People like faces. Mm-hmm.
And what about faces?
Beautiful faces. And
is
always.
This a compliment for me or in general?
No. I would say about the image from the creatives, and also I would pick up women.
Okay, this is one of the interesting ones. Okay, Paulo, before we go to you, I want somebody to explain me why women, and not somebody who's been here for the last 10 calls, because I can see them all smirk a little bit and smile because they know the exact rule, but I want to know exactly why women. Kevin.
Because most people aren't really attracted to men, but everybody's attracted to women.
Okay, but how does it work though? Because that's what I want to know. There's a specific rule. I don't think I discussed in the course, so some of you might not know it, but it's something that we've said a lot over the last couple of weeks, especially in the beginning.
Is it like an evolutionary thing where we all just...
No, you were in the right direction, but I want to know the exact sum up. But
I don't know.
Elijah can tell us. Right, Elijah? No? No? Okay. Damien, are you ready? I want the exact setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Women,
okay, good.
Women like men and women. Men only like women.
Perfect. So women like women, other women. Women like men, right? And men like women, but men don't like other men. right? That's the equation. So where you end up with the largest appeal, women. Very simple, but I see so many ads which use men, and you would only use men when it's about either a direct correlation with the problem, erectile dysfunction, testosterone supplements, right? Either one of those two, otherwise you always use women. Where is the camera usually in adult entertainment? Not on the men, because women like women and women like men, and men like women, but men don't like men, unless it's a very unique category, and we call that gay porn, right? Make sense? Okay, perfect. Because that is natural behavior of human beings, right? Our genders, and I don't want to get into a whole gender debate on transgenders and stuff, but men and women in that regard, one of the biggest industries in the world makes a very clear split between those options in different categories that you have. And we should do that also in Nutra and all the other elements. Perfect. Elena, do you want to add anything to this list apart from women and beautiful faces? No?
I would say that like some similar to curiosity, I would say weird and strange things, but like
Yeah, that would be curiosity. I would batch it under that. Yeah, okay. Cheers. Paulo Torres, what do we have?
Yeah, I think dimensions, right?
Dimension?
The right dimension.
Or dimensions?
Yeah, the right dimension. Dimension. D-I-M.
Yeah, it's a
size.
fact, but yeah, dimension. Yeah, dimension, like this. I would say that's a fact, but it's not necessarily inside the image. It's more the structure of the image. But it's important. If you mess up the dimensions, then it's not going to go well. So definitely a good one there. Do you have anything else to add to our list of the actual image?
No, it's okay.
No? All right. Cheers. Kevin?
I would say something like very clear, like
very clear as in HD quality.
Like it's as if it was very easy on the eyes.
You mean high contrast?
It's no, like digestible. Oh, I guess that's kind of words. How about something like clickbait? Would that kind of work? Like,
okay, let me just write that on the stupid list. Yes.
Stupid list. Oh, okay.
Oh, I wrote like clickbank almost. Clickbait. Okay, we don't want anything clickbait. Okay, who can explain me what happens if you use clickbait images? Neil?
You'll get an improved click-through rate, but it won't bring a good conversion.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
On the images, can I contribute something?
Definitely.
I think we're missing that we want color.
Yeah, can do. Anything else? Neil?
I can't think. I know you're looking for one more. I can't think of it.
Well, I think we got a pretty decent list, but I see some hands, so I'm like, let's go. let's jump to Martin. He has another one for us.
It's somehow related to relevance, but to the angle, whether we can attack an ad with different angles, and we can use completely different images. But if the image doesn't,
yeah, but I would then follow Kevin's advice to push the sub angles here. So once we write the copy, we would divide them. It's more under the dimensions as well, the angles, right?
Zoom, whether it's zoomed in properly or not.
Sorry?
Zoom?
Oh, of course. We were missing this one. Zoomed in, zoomed out. Yeah, that's what you mean?
Yeah.
Zoom?
And
yeah.
blurriness and some things. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that will be the quality. Okay. But the zoom in, zoom out is very interesting because Morgan is not here, so I will not show you his ads. But he sent me 18 ads this morning, which were like plants in my face. That was like literally, I could not see anything else. There was no contrast because all I could see were these smuggy plants. So that's a very good one, Martin. Damien?
Make them like oh my God, not stock images basically. So your real life images, that's what I meant to say, not amateurish. So real life images. So if you can get a like a real life event, maybe, you know, like for instance, if you're doing a foot product, you know, someone with an actual person with bad feet, not a stock image with bad feet.
That's cool. Kevin?
What about an image that like evokes emotion, like something that would be like?
Okay, that's
like
quite
just evokes
descriptive, but
emotion.
how would we define this?
Um,
Because emotional response is different for any being, right? If you show something graphic, some of us might be, and other ones might be, yeah. So that's the question. You know? No, cancel? Okay, fair enough. Let's rock with this list because that's quite a good list. The most important ones, let me just highlight them for you, I would say. I would say these are the core. Now I need somebody, because these are terms, right? Anybody who can explain these one by one, preferably somebody who hasn't been here before. Let me see. Who do we have? So many people to choose from. But I can't see the names. Okay, anybody who has the full screen with all the names, yeah? We have one person with, I think his name also Paulo. Yeah, Michael? One person with like a small screen. Yeah? Can you unmute yourself? Yeah, you. Yeah. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Paulo? Yes. Perfect.
Okay. So, A-quality images. That means we don't have to take some images from blurred or where we can see pixel in there. So very high quality images.
So we would say not pixelated. Yeah, is that what you said?
Okay. Yeah.
You write it. Yeah. Okay. Next one. That's very clear.
Then curiosity. So it must be something different from the other, the actual content of the website.
And how can I know this beforehand for, let's say, 5,000 websites?
Because it's yeah.
That's a good question, eh?
Point. Yeah.
So that's probably not it.
Should be something that works as an interrupt palette. So that must we have to stop scrolling when we see the images. So,
yeah, so pattern interrupt.
That's
okay.
a good, yeah.
But now you're going to give a descriptive term with another descriptive term, right? So this is not an explanation, it's another descriptive term. That's okay. Let's move on to the next one, high contrast.
So, for instance, if we are browsing on a white screen and we see an a black image, there will be high contrast. Am I right?
Perfect. Yep, definitely. So there would be a pop, right? Like my shirt,
yeah.
Black with huge red coloring.
Right.
That's contrast. Let's go with this. Well, I would say if you don't understand this, then it might be a little bit dumb, you know? So this is obvious, this one, if it's either zoomed in or zoomed out. Could you explain me what is too much zoomed in and too much zoomed out?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have any idea at the moment.
No?
I don't waste your time.
No, that's okay. Let's see. It really depends. Nobody here is sitting, like Eric is sitting a little close to his camera, but it's more angled. So there's nobody really too zoomed in. But let's look at the other ones, right? HD quality. We can definitely say that Elijah's his camera and Sudhakar are not HD quality, right? From when we see the people. Yeah, Sudhakar, little wave. Hello. Yeah, not HD. Elijah's also not HD, right? When we look at contrast, you know, Mauricio has clear contrast, pink shirt on a dark background, very light, bright face, right? Where we look at, for example, Martin, little pale skin, you know, with a very intense light background, blending a little bit in that scenario. Whereas, for example, this is a good one, where we look at, for example, high contrast, when you look at Y's camera view, there's too much light in the background to probably see I don't want to say curves, but like the, how do you say this, silhouette of his chair and his being, right? So the light comes from the wrong angle, where Kevin, for example, has light neutral from the background, but still it's not the right kind of light, right? It's too soothing. It doesn't make him pop. Where Damien, you just have his head, and then is a very light colored background with all kinds of different things on it. So you can already tell just from looking at this screen, looking at one another, that some people are clearly visible. Some people are now frozen like mannequins just sitting there. But there is, well, if you would have to choose to use somebody for the ad image for a professional design, I would go with Neil, right? Because his setting is perfect with like the screens and everything right there, and you can see him very clearly. And with a more laid back approach for the pop, I would use Mauricio, right? So I'm going to take some screenshots now, and you will see yourself in some native ads really soon. Alrighty, let's continue after our list. Paulo, thank you for your comments on this. Oh, before we do, I want somebody to explain this pattern interrupt, because curiosity is definitely the hardest one to explain, but obviously the most important one. And I just heard in my little earpiece that Mauricio is going to give it a shot.
Okay, about curiosity.
Yes, please.
It means you want to know more. There is something incomplete.
So what does that mean if you want to know more? Because that's exactly it. I'm just looking for a different word.
You want to find out what's next. You want to close the loop because it is
right,
an open
so
loop.
what do you have? So if I ask you, why would you want to know more? Because you need answers. And what do you need answers to?
To questions.
To questions. So you have questions, right? You see this image, and then you have questions. How can I tease you into getting the click?
Just with the image, we're not talking about headlines, because I was gonna say questions, that we ask in the headline.
Yeah, so you could ask a question in the headline. That would be very direct though, right? But let's say you have a question, right? And what happens with the dog? The dog always wants food. Who here has a dog? Some hands? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that's not that too many people, but if you have a dog and you have any type of food, you hang it in front of his mouth and you can just walk, and the dog will bite, and you can just walk him all around, right? It's very funny. On the other hand, the same thing applies here when you have a question. And what happens if I give you 1/5 of the answer? I give you half an answer, but I give you exactly that part that you have something, but not the entire answer. Then what happens is you automatically want to know more. It's the human curiosity that if I give you A, you also want to know B. And if I don't give you this, you'll get so frustrated because it's not fair, right? If this happens in an ad, then when the relevance is there, right, it connects with you as a human being compared to whether you're fat or whatever the weight loss product is in this example, you would get the click. And that's where it's all about. So questions, and then the headline will do the rest. Mauricio, perfect.
Thank you. Just one comment. I would like to write those kind of ads that you feel bad, you feel uncomfortable if you don't click, if you don't know more, if you don't release that tension about what's next, what happened, what's the answer to this question. And I think it has to be studied at a deep level, the psychology of the curiosity in
you would
ads.
definitely have to understand the problem and the solution of the audience. That's where it starts, right? The problem they have and the solution you offer. That is, in marketing, definitely the easiest way to make somebody to buy. You can also give them potential truth, but that hierarchy flow is way more difficult. So when you have a clear problem solution, then it's either can you match properly to the problem with your solution. If you can, then you'll sell, and if you cannot, then they will go somewhere else, right? They might check it out, but then they will go back. And you can never sell everybody, right? So that will not be, we don't want 100% click-through rate, but you would want that connection. And to go, what I say, the hippie stuff, you know, we don't want to overanalyze on how to write the perfect copy, because at the end of the day, we're media buyers, not copywriters, right? Two different things. However, is it a very important component? Yes. So you'll be able to write far superior copy than your average digital marketer, right? The reason is you don't spend other people's money, you spend your own money, most of you guys. And that will give you some power, but also some struggles. If you want to know about the copywriting stuff, I think we did one masterclass on it so far. We can do it again in the future if there's a lot of demand for it, but it's one of the more complex elements, right? Okay.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Good, thank you.
In terms of, let me just wipe this, the stupid list will remain. My favorite part, a little sadistic. I'll put it here. In terms of how many images. So we have many images. Who said this? Many images. It's our MVP of the day. Okay, many images. What does that mean though? Right, so let's say Kevin said 1 angle, 3 sub angles. Martin, what are we going to do with these images?
Well, you have to kind of batch test them. Maybe, well, it depends on how many we're really starting. So when we say we start with we have 1 angle, 3 sub angles. We can start with like 15 each with one headline or 2 headlines.
Let me take out my amazing sketchpad for you guys. This will be very ugly. So we have 30 headlines, yes, which will be reviewed. Okay, so this is headline, this is image. You say 15, yes, 1, 5.
Per sub angle, yeah.
Per sub angle, so this is times 3. So
yeah,
you'll end up
45 to start.
45 to start. Okay, well, this combination can definitely not happen, right?
No,
so
well, in general, we're supposed to test one thing at a time, but we can combine like 2 headlines maybe with 45.
That's a very good one. I'm going to write this one down here because you say something interesting. Okay, so we are supposed to test one thing at a time, but on the initial launch, you have to add both metrics, right? So what should we do here? Should we use more images or more headlines?
Well, we can add a second headline.
Okay, let's do this, yeah? Okay, this is headline, and this is images. Martin, what do you say? Images or headlines?
45 images and 2 headlines. That gives us
2 headlines. So you say we add more images, yes? Okay, Martin goes here. Why? What do we do? More images or more headlines?
I would start with more headlines.
Oh, this sounds like a competition. All right.
Yeah, I was actually saying a second headline to the 40.
Yeah, okay, but the majority would be images, right?
I'm not sure what you mean with majority. When we say 45?
Yeah, 45 images, and you say 2 headlines.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the majority would be then bigger number.
Oh, the majority. Okay, that's what I'm saying with majority.
Yeah. Neil, what are we going to do? Headlines or images?
Well, I probably don't know the right answer, but I can tell you what I just did. So
well, maybe just pick one. Is that okay?
I would say, well, I broke my headlines into two different types. One is a message announcement, alert that there's a message, and the other one is explaining the or teasing them into the offer. So I had two types of headlines and multiple images.
Okay, but let me ask you another question. Push or native?
Push.
Yeah, okay, my bad. Okay, fair enough. Then that's fine. Kevin?
I'd say more headlines, just because of the fact that when people are browsing through like MSN or whatever, they'd be reading the titles as opposed to just looking at the images.
Interesting.
So
But you haven't come to this part yet, so.
No, I haven't. But I would assume just
interesting
like by
explanation.
customer experience wise, it's like that's kind of the journey that, even though like we're more visual people, I think interestingly enough that it's the headlines that get clicked over the images.
Okay, I'm going to get back to you on this one, right? I'll give you a little star here, because that's something interesting that you just said. Aleno, what are we going to do? Headline or images? Can't hear.
I would say first headlines.
Headlines, okay. Sudhakar?
I'll go with images actually, because I feel that images is the first chance to look at even the headlines. I feel so, more images and less headlines.
Okay, interesting. There has to be some explanation behind it, but this was a good one. Paulo Torres?
Yeah, it's my first time native here, but what I'm going for is more images first.
Oh, okay, making the 3-3.
Yeah, because more images, because I want to test what makes people stop first.
Ooh, okay, I'm going to give you a little star as well. Yes, we'll get back to you on this one potentially. Okay, one deal breaker, because now we have 3-3. Mr. Eric, you are the one who makes the decision. Are we going to do headlines or images?
Images.
Images, and why?
Well, I think the images make better more than the headlines.
Why?
Because I think that the images got the attraction of the clicks.
Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back to Kevin, yeah? Because you said headline, right? Thanks, Eric. Okay, explain me. Yes, this is a native ad.
Explain my headline?
Yes. So this is the headline and this is the image.
I would say I would say it's because the headline is what kind of stops you from images. Like I wouldn't just randomly go through the computer and look at images and then just click on an image, right? I would kind of like read what's below that image, so I know it's not like a virus or anything.
How would you read what's below the image if you never stop scrolling?
Good question.
Okay, look at this, how I sketched it. Yes? Because this is about perception. It has nothing to do with marketing per se, but there's a reason we do things in a certain order. In general terms, it doesn't matter if you do headlines first or images first. There's just a theory on why we, as in everybody who we've guided so far, we always say images first. One, they are the scroll stopper, yes, but you could do headlines first, it doesn't matter. But on the perception of what we're doing, let's say this is 20% of your ad, and this is 80%, yes? Now, when you're testing your campaign, you're basically testing the traction of the potential widget, right? And the creatives at the same time. But once you run these widgets, you also get the placement data of the widgets, right? Would you want to test a numeric less significant data piece first, or would you do the biggest one? That's the question. right? Let's say you're testing on high cholesterol, right? Let's say you have a skinny bitch. Yes, he only weighs 100 pounds. And then you have a fat fucker, which is 315 pounds. You need to pick the person with the highest cholesterol. Who are you going to pick? Just to do a random test, right? The guy with the with the fat fucker, right? Who eats McDonald's 10 times a day. Why? Because it's likely, because of the perceived what we see, that he has high cholesterol. Might not even be true, but 99% of the time it is true, right? Or in this example, 80% of the time. So that's usually why we do images first. Now we come to the scenario where it is how many images though, you know, where we have a question here, how many things do you test? Well, I can say we will run many images. I'm just going to quickly remove. We're going to follow Martin's advice because that's the correct advice. We'll do 2 headlines. Yes. Now, what is the question? How many images, right? So the question is, how many ads do we want in total? Anybody want to shout a number?
45.
90.
45. What else?
90.
90. Who else? 300 billion. No. Generally, it doesn't matter, right? How many ads the ad exchange allowed. Sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 100, sometimes it's 200. Should be relative to your cash flow, right? You're not going to run 100 ads with $100 a day in spend. So that's important to understand that the impressions do matter, which goes in here. So now, Mauricio, let's go back to you. You see that all of these variables are interlinked. What is the rule on the impressions? That way you will know the ads relative to your ad spend. We know the headlines, and then we know the images, right? This is basic data, what's it called? Business analyst stuff. What a conversion optimization guy usually does in big business. But Mauricio, how many impressions does an ad get in the ballpark range to properly test it?
500.
We have 500. Who's going to bid more than 500? Damien not allowed, Martin not allowed, Neil not allowed, Y not allowed. Let's do Kevin, because I know you guys know the answer.
I'd say 1,000.
1,000. Who's going to bid more than 1,000? No, wait, I don't see all the hands on the screen. Yeah, Elijah's? Yeah, sorry, you were not on the screen, so I just saw your fingers at the edge of the screen.
10,000.
Who says this? Elijah's or Serenus?
Yes, it's me, Elijah's. 10,000.
Anybody going to offer more than 10,000? Paulo? No, not more than 10,000?
No, 5K. I was fine with 5K because we want to get 100 clicks on the offer.
Okay, 5,000. Who's going to do more than 10,000? Nobody more than 10,000? Well, then he must be right. Who votes that Elijah is right with 10,000? I don't see that many hands. William? Yes? More than 10,000 or less than 10,000?
So upon your training video, it's ideal to test 5K. The results are not always good. So I sometimes take more than 10K impressions. So I'm just seeing. So
between 5 and 10,000?
So I consider clicks, the number of clicks sometimes.
Oh, so don't say this, William. Don't say this. Let's go back to 5 to 10,000. Yes. Okay. 5 to
So
10,000. Very
basically,
good.
I think between 5K to 10K is enough. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, William. Let's not
You're
discuss
welcome.
clicks at this moment. Okay. So who votes William and who votes Elijah's? That's the question, you know, because we have two smart individuals here, but one is right and one is wrong. Depending on what, though? That's the question. Who knows the obvious answer? Martin.
I think it depends on the tier as well. Tier 1 might be enough to have 5,000, but for tier 2 and 2, 3, you need more.
Yes, but why? It's relative to something, the impressions.
The quality of traffic.
That's not it. So what happens when we buy impressions? Buy impressions. Oh, hang on, Martin. Let's switch to our main man of today.
To
No?
me?
No, okay, no, Kevin. I'm mimicking Mauricio, but he doesn't understand. He was not paying attention. Okay, so what happens if we buy more impressions?
It costs money.
It costs money, right? So to what is impressions relative to? Mauricio?
Budget to budget.
Budget. And what do we call budget when it's about projection?
I don't know.
No?
Cash flow. Cash flow. Okay. Cash flow.
Fair enough. Okay, so these things are connected, but not directly correlating. So Martin, you were 100% right. It's related to the cash flow. In tier 1, 5,000 might be enough. 10,000 might give you more coherent data. Elijah, you were right with 10,000. I would count both of these correct, right? It's not necessarily wrong, 10,000, but you don't want to give it too much room when it's not needed. Yes, guys, finally, after all these weeks of attending these calls, you have one answer correct. No, all jokes. You guys are good participants every week. So that's obviously very important, right? So let's say 10,000 impressions, then relative to your cash flow. So let's say, now we'll make it a little bit more complicated, yes? Let's say you run $500 a day, right? With a CPM of $5, which means that in this scenario, you can buy 100,000 impressions. We need 10,000 per ad. Well, we can bridge this over, let's say, 3 days. It doesn't have to happen in one day. Let's say you do want to do it in one day. 100,000 impressions, 2 headlines, 5 images gives you 10 ads for 10,000 impressions. Times 10 is 100,000 for 500 bucks, right? Who didn't follow this? Kevin, no? This is standard. You have to train the numbers a little bit more, right? But this equation works if you want to test it in one day. If you want to test it in 3 days, you just up it by 3, these metrics, and then you still have the same equation, right? So you just play around with the numbers. Luke, are you here? Luke Miles? Guys, we have strict rules. I don't like to do this, but if you're being AFK, I just kick you off the call if you don't have a camera on. Rules are rules for everybody. Okay, Luke is gone. Let's have the next Luke. Okay, so now we know about all these ads and all this great stuff, right? Now we're on the point of metrics. Let's go to the lenders. Okay, let's do a little bit of a quiz again, right? Keep this in mind. Paulo Torres. How many clicks on a lender to establish viable data?
How many clicks in a lander?
Yeah.
500?
500. Paulo, I think it's called Rosini. No, your last name. Rosini?
Ronzino.
Ronzino.
Are you talking to me?
Rosino.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You can call me Pablo.
Bueno.
So
Pablo.
Pablo. Yeah.
Pablo.
It will be easier.
Paulo. Better. Mr. Ronzino, what do we have?
Yeah. 500. I would fine with it.
Oh, that's cheating, but okay, I'll write it down. Soranus, go ahead. What do you have?
$100.
100. So better. 100. Murad?
100.
Oh, damn. We have a little bit of battle going on here. Alena?
100.
Kevin?
I'd also say 100.
100. Michael? Not Michael? No, not you. The real Michael. Yeah, it's you. It's you. Go ahead.
I'm the real Michael.
No, you're not the real Michael. You're not allowed to talk. I want to know the real Michael.
Okay, I'm going to say 1,000.
1,000. Okay, you got to give me some explanation here because that's quite off of what's being said so far.
Okay. Well, I want 100 clicks. Am I going to get a conversion? Is that enough, right, to test the data?
Well, that's the question.
Yeah. So maybe 1,000 clicks is giving you more data.
Okay, let me come back to you on this one, right? Because I have a good example from which we can all learn.
Thank you. And I'm okay if you put it in the stupid list.
Well, we'll see. I don't necessarily have you put you there. Okay, other Michael, it's your turn. Don't shame me. Make me proud. Pump.
You talking to me?
It's finally your turn.
I wasn't paying attention. I was discussing something.
But don't make this a huge mistake on my end to let you speak.
Well, then don't let me speak.
Okay, come on. You know?
What's the question?
How many clicks should a lender get to get valid data?
1,000.
What? I didn't hear it correctly.
10,000.
10,000? Yeah? What's the argumentation behind this?
I don't know.
No,
Seems
you
like
don't
a lot.
know? I would say 10,000 is a lot, but you have one more opportunity to change your answer for something else. Something you might consider, you know, you might have heard it somewhere, you might have seen
Maybe I'll
it
go for
somewhere.
100 then.
100. Okay, well, I'll put you down for 100. You want to reconsider it or 100 is good?
No, I'll stick with 100.
Yeah, okay, perfect. I wrote you down for 100. Rohan, what do we want to do?
Yeah, I will go for 100.
100. Well, I think, thanks. I think everybody else will go for 100 as well, which is why it's so interesting that Michael, other Michael, said 1,000, right? So Michael, can you unmute yourself real quick? Then we'll do the equation.
Okay.
Not Michael Pump. Yes. Michael Long, yeah?
Yeah,
That's it.
I'm unmuted.
Okay, perfect. Right, let's have a look. Because for the people who said 500, both Pablo, Michael, so 500 to 1,000, we would have to make an equation, which is a native ad equation, right? Where we would say the average CPC lies anywhere between $1 and $10 if you're real shit, yeah? But we're all really great, so it will only go to $5. Well, this would mean that in your scenario, you would test $1,000 to $5,000 on a lender, right? Where we would establish a decent click-through rate. Do you think this is worth the money?
Depends on the conversions.
Well, but we don't know the conversions. So we make the budget before we run it.
Got it. Okay. So then it just depends on your cash flow.
Well, okay, I have a follow-up question though. Paulo Torres, does this make sense? So 500
No,
would be a little bit on the high end, right?
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
Okay, so in your scenario, it would be 500 to 2,500. Pablo, you want to say something?
So I would adjust my number of clicks into 100 because before testing a lot of further, I want to validate my offer because I could put 5K into a landers, but if the offer sucks, I won't test any further. So I need at least 100 clicks to see if the offer converts. If I got conversion, I can.
Hang on 1 second, yeah? Okay, so you need 100 clicks on the offer to see if it converts, but 100 clicks on the lander doesn't mean 100 clicks on the offer, it just means the lander.
Yeah, that's why 500, yeah, okay, it makes sense.
So we're talking solely about the lander. I wrote this down for the next step, if we have time. Yeah, we have more than enough time. But right now, the problem I have with the 500 to 1,000, so it's definitely 100, right? All the experienced guys said 100, so you guys are awesome. The problem in this scenario is it is extremely unlikely that we will test one lender, right? So as soon as the initial testing happens, let's say worst case scenario, we would spend $500 with 100 clicks. In this scenario, we would spend 100 to 500. So let's take the mean, which is like 250 per lender, times 10 to test a native campaign on the widget level. 2,500 is very normal. You have a rotator with 10 lenders. This is what the efficient testing is about, right? And the more advanced style, William, Damien, the rotation of lenders have already been applied to get the results desired. Because when we're talking about a full coherent flow, then what difference does this make, Kevin, on your ROI increase?
It makes a bunch of difference.
How much?
By 40% extra.
40%?
Wait, are you talking about the landing page click-through rate, or?
Yeah.
I'm seeing the numbers 40 and 80% landing page click-through rate, so I kind of just did that mental math of like minus 40, but or plus 40.
Anybody wants to help Kevin? Yeah, not Neil. I see Neil, but I know Neil knows math. So this is my guy. I want somebody who's going to surprise me this time. Because Kevin, apparently you don't know math, right? And you have one answer here, so I'm not going to put you there again. But this is high school math, guys. And I know all of you guys who are like looking quite anxious because you don't know high school math. But I'm going to shame some people. Mauricio, please explain me how this works.
Actually, the difference between 40% and 80% is 100% more revenue.
Yeah,
and
or more potential traffic, which would mean revenue at the end of the day. So this is double, guys. This is double. So twice the amount of traffic goes through the funnel, which is at the end of the day 100%, right? If, for example, English Public say the same. Mauricio, you earn a VIP badge today because it's your first call, I think. So many good answers. So we will do, what are we doing on Thursday? Well, I don't know because I haven't signed out the invite yet. So we can do something special for Mauricio. Perfect. 100%, right? 100% gain. So on that level, it is quite serious that even if you would go from 40 to 50%, it could already yield a huge benefit to your campaign, right? That initial bump in terms of ROI, when we're talking about 30% ROI on scale is great, that 30% can quite easily be adjusted through different variables, images, headlines, lender, offers, right? Pablo, let me go back to you, sir. You said offer test, right? Testing.
Yeah.
Who said this? Testing one thing at a time. Martin,
The
yes. Yeah, Pablo, we're still with you. So how are we going to test the offers?
yeah, as I said, I want to make sure I get at least 100 clicks on the offer.
Okay,
Not on the
who's
lender,
going
but
for?
in the offer.
Yeah, on the offer. Yeah, perfect. Who's going for more than 100 clicks on the offer? Anybody want to increase over 100? Mauricio, do not raise your hand on this one. You just sit this one out. Because 100%, 100 clicks is definitely correct, right, in this scenario. But you can argument it, Mauricio. Why would you want to do more than 100 clicks?
Just to have more reliable data.
That's a fact. However, when we look at the cross-X between efficiency and effectivity, does it yield additional returns, or do you have diminishing returns going over 100 clicks? That's the question. Yes, or?
Yes, of course, because if at a certain point you don't get any improvement, just stop there.
What could be, because this is what I'm saying, right? It's an assumption, this scenario. What could be an offer flow where we would need more than 100 clicks, preferably?
Maybe if we are split testing something.
But this is about an offer flow. So I don't know if you know any offer flows, but there's one specific offer flow that requires you to deliver more clicks.
What if we are testing the same offer with different CPA networks, let's say?
Well, then each offer would still get 100 clicks.
Yeah.
But this is a little bit more advanced methodology, but if you can make the connection, let's hop over to Neil.
I think that would be the case if you have an offer that has a residual income after the fact, like a revenue share based on transactions later.
Let me see. Yeah, let me just try to clarify. An offer makes an additional conversion for, let's say, $20. Yes, then it pays $20 a month. Does it make sense, I mean, that first week to run another 200 clicks to it when the conversion of 1 month later hasn't occurred?
Well, your initial conversion needs to be good enough to justify continuing, but you're trying to evaluate the follow-on revenue as well.
But that would take 1 month, right? So in this scenario, 100 clicks a day, 3,000 clicks.
Yeah, it's a long time to run a test.
Right. In this scenario, then, does it really make sense?
No.
I would say it's a good one because I was surprised by it, but now I'm thinking about it and I'm like, the gap time to convert for the second time, TTC, is too long, right?
But the budget is too big.
Yeah, or we could pause it, but then again, we wouldn't complete further than 100 clicks. There's one specific factor which can trouble your data in terms of, I would be very impressed if somebody knows this, but yeah, why did you raise your hand? Yeah, go ahead.
My guess would be something like a crypto offer. So you send the leads and they have to call or wait for someone to deposit. So you need a larger data set to get the conversion.
Okay, this is amazing. I'm very much surprised. But how does it actually work? Why? Because the time is not necessarily the moving factor here. It is and it isn't at the same time. Let me say that.
I think it's because you send leads and then like the actual conversion rate is much lower because the payout is really high. Yeah.
So this is the flow, right? So it's a single opt-in, name, phone number, then it becomes a lead, it fires a conversion for $0, right? And then you get the FTD. So it might run up the conversions here, ordering you that on 100 clicks, it's a good running offer, right? Because you get a lot of leads, but if those leads don't convert into an FTD, they're useless, right? So in this scenario, even though there are no conversions or there are some conversions, you have to take a weighted point average, which is a little bit more advanced, which we do not include. But Aleno, I hear from my schedule that in 3 weeks' time, we will discuss this on our little inner circle calls. But yeah, the weighted point average in this scenario will be your guide towards how many clicks you will need in order to scale this. And these are campaigns where usually you're talking about split testing about 60 to 120 lenders at the same time, 10K a day in ad spend with an average return of anywhere between 400 and 2000% ROI, right? So they're very aggressive major scale campaigns. But it's very important to understand the big difference. So for everybody watching this right now, in general terms, we usually never test over 100 clicks, right? Why? Again, very impressed. Second time I've been impressed with your skills and capabilities. Let's go back to Pablo.
Yeah.
How many offers would we? Oh, yeah, go ahead. You have something to say?
No.
You want to take over? I'm going to ask you some questions and you can fire, yes? How many offers would we test in this scenario? Because you say 100 clicks per offer, right? So when it's 100 clicks per offer, I assume you want to add more offers?
Yeah, I have to rely on my budget, so I would test three offers.
3 offers? Why that specific number?
Yeah, as I said, it depends on my budget.
Yeah, so it's not really 3 offers. It more depends on your budget.
Okay. Yeah.
No, it's a question.
But I don't know if 3 different offers doesn't come over.
Well, your connection is cutting.
Or something else.
Okay.
No,
so
I don't know.
What I understood is, okay, well, you say it depends on my cash flow, right? What does it depend on? Because depends on cash flow is descriptive. What are the numbers? What does it depend on? Well, this is your theory, right? You made this up. You said it depends on cash flow. Then my normal answer is, what does it depend on then? And this is not just for you, Pablo. This is for everybody, right? You need to be able to argument why you're doing certain things. Kevin, you've learned this the hard way over the last couple of days, right? Once you do something, you need to be able to argument it properly, that you understand what you're doing. It's not somebody who cleans the windows. What are you doing? Yeah, I'm just washing the window. Are you washing the window or are you cleaning the dirt off the window? I can wash the window myself, not pay somebody, but at the end of the day, the dirt is still there because I don't know what I'm doing, right? The first time I washed windows, I used cold water. Well, it's a lot easier if you use hot water, right, to clean the windows. But I was just making the windows wet, very different from taking off the dirt and cleaning the windows. The same thing as with the media buying. Why are we doing the things that we're doing? If you have your own theories, that's great, right? But if you don't, follow the presented fixed theories. Who wants to give it a shot on the offers? What to do, how to do it? Thanks, Pablo. Everybody a little scared now. Murat? Yeah, go ahead.
What I will do, normally I test also, I have the offers in rotation, and I would kill the
What does that mean? I have the offers on rotation. You launch a campaign and you have offers on rotation, or you launch a campaign with one offer?
Multiple. Yeah, it's the same product, but multiple offer pages.
Yeah, the product you launch, right? The first native campaign we worked on. Yeah. Was that multiple offers or was it one offer?
Good question. Yeah.
It's amazing how I know more about your campaign than you do.
Yeah, it's for me not easy to explain, but yeah, I have multiple offers running in my campaign. but it's the
at this
same
moment.
product. Yeah, at this moment.
Yeah, okay. And why did you set it up that way?
Because I have the lenders hosted by the affiliate network, and I'm running multiple offers and
yeah, I have it right here. Your stuff, yeah. Okay, so what you're trying to say is you are rotating lenders, but you're not really rotating lenders because you use hosted lenders. So you're rotating offers.
Yes.
Yeah, but the offer is the same, so you're actually rotating lenders.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not rotating offers. You're only using Go Slim, yes?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. See, it's that's a different distinction between the two elements. But who here, thanks Murat, who here would rotate offers on the first campaign launch? So from the beginning, immediately rotate offers. Hands up. Am I the only one? Okay, let me repeat the question. Hands up if you would rotate offers when you first launch a campaign. Me and nobody else. This is quite sad, guys. Neil? Yeah, but Neil does push. So this is about native. Faxley also push. Okay, who would launch a campaign with only one offer? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The rest, basically. Oh, your guys are correct. I tried to bait you. Last time I baited, who was it? Morgan 3 times, but this time it was not successful. Yeah, Sudhakar is laughing right now because last time he got baited too. Yes, obviously, I would say one, you first want to test the initial traction on the offer before. Hang on one second, guys. What is going on, Mauricio, with that little thingy?
Just, I am in front of a place where I see that a big dog was brought by someone. I'm a spy.
A big duck?
Dog.
A big dog was robbed.
Was brought by someone. In front of me, there is a beautiful building. Because I work here all the time, I see everything that happens. So when something different happens,
use a little weird camera to spy on the people. That's not creepy at all.
I am a creep.
If you live in an apartment building, feel free to shut your blinds right now before Mauricio is going to look in your house and to see if you have a dog. And what did they do with the dog?
They are. It's a new guy. I never seen there. So I'm wondering why, because I know the routines, the times, everything about the people in front.
Okay, next week in Making a Murderer.
If a murder happens, I'm ready to record everything.
Okay, perfect. We will keep you as our main scout. No, I was just curious about that little thing he is. Awesome, Mauricio. That's funny. Back to the offer rotation. One offer, Mauricio. Why one offer?
As we said before, you test one thing at a time. So more than one offer, I think it could complicate things.
In which scenario would we test an additional offer, and at that point, how many?
I think that if we need to know, for example, we have 2 brands of Nutra, and we want to find out which of the 2 convert best. They cost the same, they're similar, just they're different brands. I think at that point, we could split test. And I would say how many, it depends on how much traffic you are sending, which in turn depends on your cash flow. but I think it should be 2, just to keep things under control and not to spend too much.
So what is it based on in that scenario? You don't want to spend too much, but you want to keep it under control based on what?
But if you have enough budget, cash flow, you could spend hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands.
And what happens if we spend more?
More than what?
More money.
If you well, we have more data.
How come do we get more data?
Because the traffic tells us, presents data that we can analyze.
And if we spend more money?
We get more traffic.
We get more traffic. All right, thanks, Mauricio. That's perfect. All right, so now in this scenario, apparently, I have tested this, yes? Ads, I've tested the lenders. Now I have tested one offer, right? This part here. I'm going to block it off. Was not successful. I know what doesn't work. Here I know what works, and here I know what works. These stages have been completed. Now, in this scenario, I know what doesn't work, right? I have a whole opportunity left. I can do 1, I can do 100 offers. Mauricio said, add 1 or 2, right? Is that correct? Did I understand correctly? 1 or 2, depending on the amount of traffic, right? That is the perfect theoretical answer. But as we all know, theory and implementational are 2 different things. So the question is, how many offers would we ideally run? Well, you want to be here, right, in the majority, which then would be not testing just this, not testing just this. And this, again, there's no theoretical equation on what is best, which makes it a little bit more difficult to understand most of the time. The question is, okay, so the reason I made this sketch, I forgot, but now it's back, is let's say this is 3 offers, right? So then this whole thing is 6 offers total, right? What is important to understand is that while this runs, the lenders will keep running, and this wasn't supposed to be lenders, it was supposed to be something else. So let me just make it here. Here it is. So this is widgets, right? Widgets. So while this runs, you have tested 1, you have tested 2. So you've tested 2. The widgets also have only been tested 20%, right? Then you test number 3, you have more spent on the widgets as well. And that keeps continuing. So if the ads have been tested, lenders have been tested, and you have only tested, let's say, 60% of the widgets left, so you have tested only 40% disqualified, that means that there is a continuous amount of traffic which needs to go through this campaign while the ads have been tested, lenders have been tested, which we either could benefit from by applying a split test to the offer, or because we need to test this anyway, right? So in a scenario where you have high traffic, you would want to add more and more offers into your rotation, because in a scenario where each, well, let's make it mathematical, where you have, let's say, a CPM of $1, right? You have 100 widgets, payout of $10. Then on 10,000 impressions, basically on the creatives, which doesn't matter, we have the CPA rule as well. So CPA is 10 in this scenario. And on the creative side, it's easy because it matches the widgets, right? So we have 100 widgets. So in this scenario where you have 100 widgets, all the other variables have been tested, we need to spend $1,000, right? $1,000. Which on the CPM gives us 100,000 impressions, right? Which, let's say you have ICTR, well, we're killers, 5% to give us 20,000 clicks. We have LP CTR 50%, which gives us a remainder of 10,000 clicks, which have a conversion rate of 10%. Let's say ClickBank, we have 1,000 conversions, right? At a payout, is we make 10,000 with a spend, so we profit 9,000. in this scenario, real quick conversions. Now you know, let's say the conversion rate is 1%, it's break even, right? At that scenario. Let's say it's less than 1%, you would have to do something to fix this. In a scenario where you're getting 10,000 clicks coming through to the offer page, you know that with 100 clicks, how many offers can we run? Anybody just shout it? Come on, guys, basic math. Oh. How many offers can we run if we have 10,000 clicks? I hear somebody. Did somebody say something? I didn't hear it. Yeah, speak. It's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
10?
This hurts. Paulo, it hurts.
Yeah. Sorry. 10,000.
10,000 clicks.
100. I know. Yeah, 10,000 clicks. You have 100 clicks to make it. So it's 10 offers, right? To make the test.
100 times 10 is 10,000?
Yeah. No. 100. Sorry. So you can.
Everybody's laughing, but nobody said the right answer yet. How many offers?
You can do 1,000 offers. Is that correct?
Bro.
You have 10,000.
I'm gonna see you guys next week. No, well, yeah, of course, we're laughing right now, right? But in all seriousness, nobody has said the right answer, and all you guys dumb as fuck, right? Because if you cannot do basic math, I mean, yeah, Neil, go ahead.
100 clicks on 100 offers will give you 10,000.
Yes, so this is, we know that we have 10,000 clicks, and we know that we need 100 clicks per offer, so that will give you 100 offers, right? Because if you do 100 times 10, that's 1,000, Paula, right? And one thing I hate is when media buyers use a calculator, right? I was consulting about a year and a half ago at an 8-figure agency, right? These media buyers spend by themselves up to 100 grand a day. And all what these guys do is they use calculators all the time. I'd rather have you use a calculator than putting in the wrong numbers, right? Which is, of course, I would say, because I've been doing this for so long, that you need to know these things by heart. If you cannot do basic math, that's very shocking, right? Because this is elementary school shit, I would say. And the worst thing is, you know, when we have a good time, because I don't really care, you know, you can train this, it's not all that serious, but at the same time, it is serious, because if this is the foundation of not just you, Paulo, everybody here, right? Because everybody being cheeky is like, oh, I knew this. Well, you didn't say it, so you didn't know it, right? Shocking in terms of the fast response, because this will delay your progress in terms of how you read data. You know, I'm always surprised when I review things with clients or with coaching students, and I just tell them, move through the tracker faster. I can read it. You know, you just scroll and I will actively read all the data points. Where if your media buyer needs to spend 5 minutes per page, he's going to take an hour to review what I do in 2 minutes, right? Which means that the efficiency will fuck up the effectivity, because they cannot spend their entire budget, because they cannot create campaigns, because all they do is read the data, because it's these mix match point. And we saw 2 examples, right? Somebody, I think it was about percentages, cannot calculate percentage. That's already more difficult than just fractions, what's it called? Fractions in math. So end of my rant. How long do we have? We have no more minutes. We already went 2 minutes over, but I have a bonus question. Paulo, you can make up for it. Yes? Let me write it down. Let me just move you guys. Are you ready?
Okay, sure.
Are you nervous? let's say I want to do a rapid increase, right? So I have 1,000 clicks one day, right? Then I reduce it to 0 clicks. Yeah, I just reset the campaign. So this is day 1. And this is day 2. Yeah, so that's a significant drop here. On day 3, I do 100% increase on 0 clicks. How many clicks do I get?
0.
Okay, perfect. Little trick question. This one was fast. This one was sharp, right? Okay, Paulo, you passed. Let me go to somebody else. Yeah, maybe it was the pressure. Yeah, maybe it was the pressure. Okay, who's ready? Who thinks he's dumb at math? Anybody stupid here? Who wants? Yeah, Kevin. But Kevin, we know you're stupid. Yes, you don't have to raise your hand, but we'll give you another chance. Let's go. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's do this. Okay, I'm gonna use a calculator for this. Sure.
Let me make it easier for you. Yes.
Sure. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
You sound
yeah.
confident.
123.45.
Like this?
Yeah, like that.
How did you calculate this?
I just multiplied it by 1%.
Well, in your brain. Oh, well, you use the calculator?
I used the calculator, yeah.
Yeah, but then you're dumb. Okay. Yeah, of course, if you use a calculator, it's simple.
Well, I was like, I gave consent to use the calculator before
Okay,
I even started. So I was like, I'm gonna use the calculator.
But how would you do this on like a mathematical level? Like, it would be crazy if people would pay me the money they pay me just to teach them basic math. But yeah, Michael just made 2 gestures like this. But what does that mean? Because it's interesting, though, you know, it's not about you, Kevin. I said, Paulo, it's not about you. It's not about anybody here. But what is interesting is that what we call basic education around the world varies extremely, right? Things like financial education, knowledge, math, economics. When we talk about Western world, when I compare Europe, for example, and not all European countries, but for example, Europe to, let's say, the US, it's so different, right? In terms of, well, basic things you can calculate, for example. But how would we approach this? Anybody who's able to give proper reasoning, who's not Mauricio or Neil? Because apparently you guys are the smartest guys on this call today. Little bit, Neil. Aleno, help us out. Give us, how would you, on 12,345, how would we calculate 1%? Which
just
is
few comments on left.
Yeah, just move the decimals. So 100 has 2 decimals, and you just move the decimals. Does that make sense, Kevin? Yes?
Yeah.
So you don't need to use a calculator. With 1,000, you just move it 3 decimals, right? Where you get like percentage based in higher numbers, obviously it will be very different. So this, you first have to bring to a numeric value, which is 1 in 100, and then you can do it. On a calculator, it's even easier. But once you do a lot of data analysis, especially the parts where one thing, for example, is where, Aleno, you can take this one, yeah? How is this ever possible? And how can we see it?
Sometimes there are like the same visitor visits the page more than once, clicks more than once, or opens more than one window. And then the LP counts for more visitors than clicks. Would that be?
100% correct. So that's why in the tracker, it's called visits and clicks, two different things. When we talk about landing page clicks, we don't refer to clicks, we refer to visits, right? In the tracker, those definitions are being used. So in this scenario, this is a duplicate click for whatever reason it might be, and that's the only reason you can go over 100%. Well, let's say, Eleno, it looks like this. What do we do? Or what is it a good indicator of?
People are clicking more than once in the offer in the landing page.
Yeah. Would that make sense though?
No. It's different numbers actually, because the LP CTR would be the clicks, the visitor clicks to the offer, right? So it's kind of impossible that 100% of all the visitors click to the offer. And if
so there's two explanations for it. What would be the two possible explanations?
Everyone who clicks on the ad is redirectly 2 times to the offer.
Yeah, so that's one where the click URL fires twice, right? Which they end up at the offer, but there's an additional redirect, which pushes them through another click URL. So the same one, but it fires twice. That's one perfect answer. What is the other one?
The tracking code of the offer can be also on the landing page, or it's a double counting. But
very nice. So this is non-human behavior, right? Double clicks on everything. I think Neil, you were going to say this, yeah? Or you were going to say something else?
Yeah, bots will do that. When it's as high as you've got there, you probably have some script that's reloading the lander, and then there's another aspect which is your back-click script, which can reload your lander, but not to that volume.
But those are interesting remarks because now you're mixing variables, right? So we cannot, you can track, if you put in the back button redirect the landing URL, you're stupid. Yes, that's one thing because you should put the offer there. But let's say you do this, the clicks don't go up, the visits go up, so the LPCTR goes down, right? The clicks only activate when the click URL is being activated. So let's say you have a script where Eleno said when he said redirectly, yeah, it means, I think in his example, fire the click URL twice with the one we already had, then this would apply. Let's say for whatever custom bug they have on the initial reload, so poor internet connection or anything else, it would just reduce LPCTR because the visits go up. So if, for example, something with click actually on the button or activate the click URL on a click of an image or whatever, that would be non-human behavior because if 10,000 people, the number is too high. If you have 100 to 200 people, it is extremely unlikely, but it can still happen, right? Just a coincidence. But all in all, it is very much unlikely. All right. Any final questions before we go? We're 10 minutes over time. I know we're having a great time. You know what I'm saying? Thursday we'll be back. But for now, I'm kind of tired. I got to go to the gym, make some gains. No questions? All right, guys. Thank you for your time. It was lovely seeing you all again. I will send out the invites to the Thursday meeting tomorrow morning, where we will have a great adventure. So I hope to see you guys there. Thank you so much for being here today and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Colin.
Have a good one. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.